Dear students, it is the fourth video for week 7 and we are discussing the structure of the state. In the video third, we came to know about the legislature, Kanun Saz Idare, National Assembly and the Senate, and now we are having an overview about the judiciary. Judiciary is the one of the major component of the state, and a powerful and independent judiciary has always been source of balance and existence of the state for the longer term. Judiciary basically is a body that manages the justice and sustains the relationship of the government officials and the public, mean individual and the state, and it also governs the relationship of state with the other states in terms of uh, if any problem happens on legal grounds between two different states, and under the international law we have seen the international courts of justice that functions on the similar principle. Well, a strong judiciary, as I expressed, is a greatest gift, as we have seen the examples of the American judiciary, that there is a separation of power, and American judiciary has in many times in history shown very powerful decisions even against the strong presidents. In, for example, in recent times when President Trump issued a presidential order or imposed a kind of sanction on immigrants, it was the Supreme Court of America that revoked this and nullified this order. So this example shows that judiciary manages the equality and justice in the country. Unfortunately, the judicial record of our country is not that satisfactory or elementary, because it is the act of judiciary that allowed first time the, say, dictatorship to control the entire business of the state under the theory of compulsion or Nazariya Zarurat. The 1973 Constitution provides free and independent judiciary. Actually, the Constitution guarantees the rights to the citizens to be protected by the law, and they are the rights of life, liberty, equality, freedom of speech, trade, and association. Well, judiciary in Pakistan includes Supreme Court, High Court, and the system of the lesser courts and the Federal Shariat Court. According to the Constitution, the Chief Justice or the Supreme Court is the highest court, and it is the apex court, and beneath the Supreme Court there are high courts They are the highest courts of the provinces. And the major objective of these courts, once again, is to settle the constitutional and legal disputes and provide free and fair justice to the people. And really, in Pakistan, where uh, departments is the tendency to bulge, tendency to intrude into other departments, courts remain the only option for the people. Well, the Supreme Court of Pakistan consists of a Chief Justice and 16 other justices of the Supreme Court appointed by President. Now the qualification: a person with 5 years experience as a judge of a high court or 15 years experience as an advocate of the high court is eligible to be appointed as a judge of the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice of Supreme Court is appointed by the President. The other Supreme Court judges are appointed by President after the consultation with the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice and the judges of the Supreme Court may remain in office until the age 65. मीन वो 65 years तक अपने ऑफिस में काम कर सकते हैं. They can hold the office. The Supreme Court has original appellate and advisory jurisdiction, means that if something is not decided by lower courts, then it comes to high court, and then finally it has to be come into Supreme Court. And then Supreme Court explains also the matters of the jurisdiction, matters of the constitutional issues. Well, the judges of the provincial high courts are appointed by the President after consultation with the Chief Justice of Supreme Court, also with consultation with Governor of the provinces and the Chief Justice of the High Court. I mean, this appointment is also made by the President with the consultation of the people mentioned. Well, Chief Justice is always, Supreme Court has always been a highest icon of respect and honor in all the countries, also in Pakistan, but unfortunately in 2007, first time in history of Pakistan, the sitting Chief Justice was suspended by the government on the charges of abuse of power. Well, the Justice Iftikhar Chaudhry was given options to resign, but because but he decided, Iftikhar Chaudhry decided to fight the case in Supreme Court, and Ittizaz Ahsan was made it a lawyer or advocate in the Supreme Court. Also, a movement supported by politicians, lawyers, judges, and all fractions of life, walks of people of all walks of life that supported it, was also a say pressure on the sitting government of Yusuf Reza Gilani. Finally, the Chief Justice was reinstated. Well, then after the Supreme Court or High Court says, then there is a system of lower courts, that in all provincial levels there are two types of courts: civil courts and the courts of the criminals. Fine. Well, Federal Shariat Court. Federal Shariat Court basically is a step to Islamize the court system, and then Federal Shariat Court was made as the key pillar of the judiciary. It includes the 8 Muslim judges, and it has a chief justice appointed by prime minister. 3 judges are also ulama, Islamic scholars who are well versed in Islamic law. Federal Shariat Court has original and appellate jurisdiction. Fine. Original and appellate jurisdiction means that all type of cases can be filed in the original jurisdiction, whereas sometimes courts are given temporary jurisdiction to settle certain matters. Fine. Well, the major function of these courts is to decide whether the laws passed by the Supreme, passed by the National Assembly or Senate are according to Islam or not. Fine. Secondly, their major function is to to ensure that in cases of hudud, the punishments are uh, offered according to Islamic Sharia or not. Well, in addition, there are special courts and tribunals which deal with the specific kind of cases such as ड्रग कोर्ट्स. इसी तरह मुल्क के अंदर और बहुत सारे मामलात हैं जिनको हल करने के लिए मुख्तलिफ कोर्ट्स बनाई जाती हैं. फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल ड्रग कोर्ट्स, मनशियात इंसदाद मनशियात की अदालतें, कमर्शियल कोर्ट्स, बैंकिंग कोर्ट्स, लेबर कोर्ट्स, ट्रैफिक कोर्ट्स, इंश्योरेंस appellate tribunals, income tax appellate tribunals, and similarly courts to counter terrorism. Then another important thing is called Wafaki Muhtasib. Wafaki Muhtasib is a department created in Islamic era to keep check on the high officials and to evade corruption. Wafaki Muhtasib is appointed by President. Wafaki Muhtasib holds office for 4 years. This term cannot be extended or renewed. The major objective of Wafaki Muhtasib is to institutionalize the system for enforcing administrative accountability through investigating and rectifying any injustice done to a person through the malafide or maladministration by federal agency or the federal government officials. इसका मकसद ये है कि किसी भी हुकूमती इदारे की तरफ से किसी शख्स के बुनियादी हकूक़ पामाल हो रहे हैं, कोई इदारा अपनी जो कानूनी हैसियत है उससे बढ़ के कोई काम कर रहा है, तो उसको रोकने के लिए वफाकी मुहतसिब का इदारा जो है वो कायम है. इसी तरह पाकिस्तान के अंदर प्रोविंशियल गवर्नमेंट्स जस्ट लाइक नेशनल असम्बलीज, प्रोविंशियल गवर्नमेंट्स आर हैपन, सूबाई सतह पर इलेक्शंस होते हैं. Similar procedure is followed and then they elect the leader of the house. Normally that is called Wazir Ala or Chief Minister, and then the cabinet of the ministers. And similarly there is also the speakers and the deputy speakers. Military is the major contributor in every country because they ensured the defense. Yet, military in constitutions have no right to intrude into the business of government. But sometimes, especially, it becomes compulsory to intrude. But unfortunately, the military intrudes and then holds the power for the long time, and it makes the situation worst as compared to the rectification. Pakistani military has a proactive role in the Pakistani politics. Four major martial laws by Ayub Khan, General Ziaul Haq, Pervez Musharraf, and then previously Yahya Khan were imposed. And for the time being, civil ruler Bhutto also worked as chief martial law administrator. Well, Pakistani military has the three tendencies. It keeps eye on the politics of Pakistan. Secondly, it has a great influence on the foreign policy, especially in terms of relation with India, Afghanistan, America, Russia, and especially in Chinese inter. Military in Pakistan also runs certain businesses. This is always a question that why military runs business. Well, this is then uh, local governments was an experiment that to provide to distribute the political power बुनियादी सतह पर इख्तियारात की मुंतकिली और लोगों के मसाइल को हल करने के लिए लोकल गवर्नमेंट का सिस्टम जो है वो इंट्रोड्यूस करवाया गया था. अयूब खान introduced basic democracies, and then in the Musharraf's time the system of Nazims and Naib Nazims were introduced. However, both these systems came to be flawed and were suspended, and over and again the conventional administrative structure came to work. Dear students, it is all about our discussion from for the week 7. Hope you have understood. Thank you very much.